Plaintiff Shariah Hall says the defendant is her brother, and he was a troubled teen who ran away around the age of 15. Shariah claims he didn't come home for a year, and when he finally did return, the defendant was even worse off than when he left. Shariah is suing her brother today for impound fees. Defendant Tyler Cannon admits that he's had his fair share of problems, but says Shariah has a drinking problem, and it often causes her to make poor decisions. Tyler's countersuing because he claims the plaintiff got him fired from his job and stole his PlayStation.
Start with you.
I hate to be here today, but at this point I have no other choice. The defendant here is my brother. We grew up really close together. We played, we fight, we got in trouble a lot. But it was normal kid things. And when we started to get a little older towards teenage years, he started to follow the wrong crowd and started to do the wrong things, and I went towards the other way. And when things got really bad is when I think he ran away at the age of 15 or 16, and he didn't come back for a year later. And when a year later. And when he came back, he was kind of changed. He was different. I felt like he was more shadier, and he was a liar. And I felt this way because the way he came back. When he came back, we was under depression that he missed us and he wanted to get back into the family. But really, he was in trouble with some guys because he owed them money, and he came to our house for
hiding. What was he doing that year? Did you all ever find out?
He was at his friend's house, I believe, and he stayed over there because they were allowed to do things that my parents wouldn't allow us to do.
Your mother couldn't convince him or force him to come back?
Every time they would try to bring him back, he would leave again, so it was no purpose, and keep trying to bring him back, and he was going to leave.
So you all never became close again after that?
We did become close. We actually had an apartment together. I found it because, we both were out of a house at one time, and I'm like, why not just live together? At this point, he was doing good. He had a job, and I felt like he can take on more responsibilities. He had a child, so I'm like, why not? Let's do it. And I thought it was going to be peaches and cream, but it wasn't.
What year was that?
It was in 2015, I believe.
So how'd that work out?
At first, it was good, but I lived with my other brother as well. They were more into
So it was the three of you all?
The three of us. And they were more into smoking weed and stuff and doing more illegal stuff. And I felt myself going down that dark road.
Illegal stuff like criminal activity or getting high?
Criminal activity and stuff like that, getting high and selling drugs and stuff. Not mainly him, my other one, but he was, going down that road too. And I felt like they were dragging me down with them. And I was at that time, I was fresh out of school. I was becoming an EMT, and I had another job, and I had all these responsibilities, and I just didn't want to.
So did you move out, or how did that end?
I ended up having to move out because I just didn't feel safe there no more, and I just
They stayed?
They stayed.
They still there?
No, they're not still there. I think they got evicted of last year in July.
Well, they weren't selling too many drugs. Well, they were poor drug dealers. Can't even pay the rent. Get some background from you, sir.
Like she said, this is my older sister. We grew up together in the same house. Like she said, certain things kind of grew us apart. With her, it was drinking. With me, like she said, it was smoking. Like time being, I was at home. I was about 14, 13 at home. She came up from college. One of her friends came with her. Her friend came through the front door. She couldn't even stand up, so our room was downstairs. So I helped the friend downstairs. By that time, me going downstairs, I hear a crash in the back room or by a back door. So I go back there. I see her climbing through the window. I'm like, I stood there for about 17 minutes, waiting for her to make it through this window, and she still didn't. She fell. Then after
what was the purpose of you standing there watching her?
It was hilarious, sir.
Okay.
So
I guess
for
that
time,
weed, everything is funny.
Yeah.
So I got it.
So
most people might laugh for 30 seconds and say, "Come on, sis, let me help you out." But you say for 17 straight minutes you laughed. That was some good weed. Go ahead, sir.
So
then what?
So she finally made it through the window in 20 minutes. And then I look over my shoulder. My father was actually laughing with me. He was over my shoulder.
He's getting high too?
No.
I don't think it was 20 minutes.
I wasn't high at the time.
Not for 20 minutes.
I don't think I'd be coming.
Go ahead.
So it was about 20 minutes. She was trying to make it through this window. I kid you not. So she made it through the window. She brushed past us like we wasn't standing there. And
she was mad at y'all. Y'all weren't standing there as far as she's concerned.
But
we didn't help
My
her.
problem was her friend walked
We
through the
know what
front
your
door.
problem was.
Why didn't she walk through the front door as well? Everybody was asleep.
Because she was drunk.
But the friend was drunk too. She could have came through the front door with her. So then my mother arrived home not too long later. She asked my sister if she drunk. My sister is rocking back and forth with her eyes closed saying, no, I'm asleep. So my mother like, so you asleep right now? Yes, you don't see me? Then she began to snore, like while she was sitting there talking to my mom to pretend she was asleep. So that's not the only situation, but that's the most situation because I never
Let's
drunk.
talk about you running away. Is that true?
Yes, that
And
is.
where'd you go? What'd you do? Why'd you
I stayed
leave?
with my friend, Your Honor. I left because I just felt I didn't like the rules that my parents was giving out at the
Okay.
time.
How were the rules where your friend lived?
Pretty much nothing. We kind of did what we
What
wanted.
is he doing now?
We actually work at the same job, work at a catering company downtown.
Good. All right. And did you go as far as she did with her education? Sounds like she got more than high school. Did you get any more than high school?
No, I didn't, sir.
Why?
I'm actually completing it now.
Okay, good. What happened here with the impound fees?
Okay, so the day that he got my car impounded, I believe I was out of work.
How did he get it? Tell me what happened.
Okay, he asked to borrow my car to go to work because I was sick that day and I didn't go to work. And I said yes, but I said as long as you do not have drugs in my car, because I know if you have drugs in the city of Chicago that they will impound your car and it's going to be a high fine. So he agreed and he left out and he was excited and I told him as long as you bring me back lunch as well. So I dozed off and I was waiting for him to call me and I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. He never called me. So I ended up getting woke up out of my sleep by my mother and she finally told me that he got my car impounded and that he got arrested as well. And at that time I got angry and I was trying to figure out what to do because at that time I didn't have that money.
What was it for?
It was for cannabis.
Smoking it or had it in possession?
Well, he left out the house with a joint rolled behind his ear, and the police saw him. He actually got arrested down the block from my house.
World's worst drug dealer.
So that was on October 21st, and
So hold on. When you got pulled over, why wouldn't you just take the joint out your ear? Did you speak to the police when you saw him pull up?
I didn't.
Hey, officer.
I actually didn't
Joint
see
in
the
your
police
ear.
when I had. At the time, I didn't see the police. I don't know how they saw me either. I guess they were somewhere else. I didn't see them. I was in the car. I had just begun to flame it up, and then I pulled off. And
Flaming up, meaning smoking it in the car?
yes, sir. And then I had just begun to pull off when they had when they flashed me. I made it less than a block.
Even if it becomes legal like alcohol is, which is the comparison that's going on now, same rules. You can't drive under the influence of alcohol, can't drink alcohol in the car, can't have open alcohol in the car. It's the same with marijuana. When they say recreational use, that doesn't mean you can just fire up in the car, fire up anywhere you want, go see your son at the school and smoking the joint all the way through the hallways. That's not what it's going to be.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And, ma'am, the impound fees came to $2,460.
yes,
Let
Your
me
Honor.
see what you have there. And what has he said?
At first he was all for repaying it,
Pardon?
At first he was all for repaying it. He felt bad and he was trying to scrape up the money. But when it came down to October 31st when we got it out, I guess he got angry at me and I can't remember why he got angry at me. And I guess he was borrowing money from friends to grab something so we can have. And when
Angry, borrow money from friends?
he was angry
We
at
don't do that to you.
That's not true, Your Honor.
That's crack. What?
No, sir. No, but that's not
You don't
true, Your
smoke
Honor.
crack, do you?
Oh, definitely not, sir. Never in my
What you
life.
scuffling around asking everybody for change then?
To help my sister pay to get the car out. Because we worked out an agreement where I would pay her $200 every 2 weeks because I was working at a job where I could afford that. And that's where the harassment come in. She actually came up to my job. I gave her the
That
first
wasn't me.
payment. I
That
gave her the
wasn't me.
first payment, and she came up to my job like
That
a
wasn't
week
me.
later, causing the scene, which actually ended up making me losing the job. So I told her that me losing the job and the payment went out the window at the same time.
that wasn't me.
That's your
Your Honor.
counterclaim for the harassment
Yes.
and the PlayStation?
No,
Is for
with the
what?
PlayStation, I had actually got another job. I came home one day and I realized it was missing. I thought somebody broke in. We was living in a bad neighborhood. I go through the house, nothing else missing. So then I called my sister. She wasn't answering. Then she came home. She said she didn't know where it was at. And about a month later, she told me she gave it to her boyfriend, who then sold it.
All right. And ma'am, did you go to his job and cost him his job?
Absolutely not. Actually, my father went to his job to knock some sense into him for treating me so
Were
badly.
you there?
Yes, I was. Wait,
Was it her or the father?
It was both. They both came
I
to my job.
wasn't there, Your Honor. I was at work that day.
My father didn't do much
I
of
was
the
at
talking.
work.
She did much of the talking.
I was at work that day. I know I was at work because he called me and told me what happened.
Anybody have a letter, perhaps from your father or from the job?
No, I couldn't actually get one, sir. I just had the receipt for the game.
Let me see that. What do you say about the PlayStation, ma'am?
I did take the PlayStation.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't going to allow him just to sit in the house every day, play the game while I go to work and pay his bills.
You said he was working also.
And I
At that time, he wouldn't even be going to work. Sometimes he'd feel to go to work or he wouldn't.
Too. Me and my brother was pitching in on her half of the rent.
So he was sometimes he'd go to work.
Sometimes he would go to work and sometimes he wouldn't, depending on how he felt.
You wasn't
like.
recreational drug user, sir. That's a weed head. That's a weed head.
But Your Honor,
smoking weed all day, playing PlayStation. Don't want to go look for a job. Don't want to go to community college. Don't want to go to a training program. Don't want to go to a university. Just want to sit down there in the basement, smoke weed at PlayStation or Madden Sports or whatever game the latest game is. And young men who doing that, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're pitiful. Play that when you come home from work, after you take care of whatever household business you need to take care of. And don't become a weed head while you're doing it. Take one puff and put it down. To the next day, one puff a day. All right, sir. What did your father say when he came up there? What did he say?
she actually spoke, and she was telling me that I need to give up more money towards the car because the car builds up every day to get out.
Who was present when they were saying this to you?
I worked outside, Your Honor. There wasn't nobody, just customers, which was then told my manager that we was outside arguing, which a couple of days later they had pulled the camera and seen.
Your father wouldn't come there unless you encouraged him to. So you had something to do with it. $500 for your PlayStation, $500 for the harassment causing you to lose your job. Your judgment is $1,000. Your judgment $2,460 for the impound fee. I hope folks who are watching, as we have over and over and over, let folks know you can't go to people's jobs under any circumstance to cause any ruckus, to collect a bill, to do anything. Only thing you can do is have a process server serve a lawsuit at that person's place of employment, and that's dirty. If you have alternative means of doing it, you should try and serve them at their home. Then you can try and serve by certified mail, but you certainly don't go up there personally and harass them or send your father. All right, that's my judgment. Have a good day.
Thank you.
If he get his life together, I mean, I hope we can go back to normal, how things used to be. But I'm not going to accept anything less.
I'm just glad this is behind us, and like she said, we can proceed as a family.
Give me a hug.
No,